Money follows clarity. Wealth responds to precision. Those who've built it, truly built it, have mastered something powerful: the ability to speak their future into existence. They don't just talk about surviving, they speak in terms of scaling, growing, elevating. Their language is a reflection of their identity, and that identity is magnetic to abundance. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you want to change your life, change your philosophy. What if you want to multiply your life? Change your language? Because wealth isn't just attracted to what you do, it's pulled toward who you believe you are. And that belief is shaped every day by the way you speak to yourself, to the world. See, most people don't fail financially because of their job or even the economy. They fail because they never upgraded the beliefs they were handed. That's the tragedy. They defend those old scripts like they're truth. Phrases like, "I can't afford it. Money is the root of evil. People like me don't get rich." That's not wisdom. That's programming. And if you don't, change the script. You'll keep living the same story. You've got to treat your mind like fertile soil. What you plant there, intentionally or not, will grow. Plant weeds like complaints, blame, and excuses, and you'll harvest frustration. But plant seeds of discipline, strategy, value, and courage. That's where transformation begins. When you start building a life that most only dream about, you must recondition yourself to believe that. Wealth is not only possible, it's earned. Through thought, through language, through consistent, aligned action. Poor thinking hesitates. Rich thinking acts. Poor thinking spends. Rich thinking invests. Poor thinking waits for permission. Rich thinking creates the opportunity. And here's a truth that's not often spoken: the way you think when you're alone. That will decide how you live when the world is watching. So the real question isn't, can you become wealthy? It's this: can you stop arguing for your limitations long enough to discover what you're truly capable of? Let's begin. Not by chasing riches, but by eliminating the thinking that rejects them. Because once your mind is free, your wallet often follows. Here's a lesson I learned early in life: excuses will bankrupt you faster than any bad investment. Not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They're the silent saboteurs. They sound harmless, like, "I would if I had more time." Or, "If only the economy were better." Or, "It's not really my fault." I've heard those excuses 1,000 times. The worst part: back then, I was the one saying them. I wasn't broke because of my job or my surroundings. I was broke because of the way I spoke about my own life. I had become a master of escaping responsibility, a pro at blaming everything except my own choices. Until one day, I had a realization that was so simple, it almost embarrassed me. If I wanted my life to change, I had to change. And that meant cutting out the language of blame and replacing it with a vocabulary of ownership, discipline, and resolve. That shift changed everything. Wealthy people think in terms of discipline. They say things like, "It's on me. I didn't manage my time well. I didn't follow through. I didn't bring the effort." And the moment they say that, they take their power back, because excuses hand your power to the world. Discipline reclaims it. That's the language of wealth. Accountability, ownership. You can't build an extraordinary financial life if you're constantly handing away your power in the form of excuses. I remember a time early in my journey, I was invited to speak at a conference, huge opportunity, but I didn't have the money for travel. I almost let the excuse slip. "I guess I can't afford it." But I caught myself. I replaced the excuse with a question: how can I afford it? That question activated my resourcefulness. I sold a few things I didn't need, picked up a quick side gig. I made the trip, and that single decision, it opened 5 more doors. I replaced the excuse with initiative, and the reward multiplied. Excuses feel good in the moment. They let you off the hook, but they don't pay bills. They don't build reputation, or they don't increase net worth. Responsibility does. And if you're ready for the next step in this journey, let's continue. Because where we go from here, that's where real transformation begins. coming off. What we just discussed about the destructive power of excuses and the liberating force of personal responsibility. The next question naturally becomes, what can I do today to honor my goals? That's the real shift, moving from blaming circumstances to focusing on what's within your control. It's not about guilt. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about language, the subtle yet powerful transformation that begins when you start listening to the way you speak to yourself. The moment you hear an excuse forming in your head, pause. Replace it. Turn "I'm too tired" into "I need to better manage my rest." Shift "I can't find the time" into "I haven't made it a priority yet." Because the words you choose, especially when no one's watching, quietly shape the direction of your entire life. Excuses tie you to your past. Responsibility launches you into your future. Speak like someone who plans to be wealthy. Think like someone who's in control of their destiny. Because the second you stop making excuses is the second your life begins to move forward deliberately. Powerfully, let me share a key difference I've observed between those who grow wealthy and those who stay stuck in cycles of scarcity. Surprisingly, it's not always about how much money they make. It's about how aware they are of what they already have. See, most people don't actually have a money problem. What they really have is an attention problem. They're not watching where their money goes. And when you're not watching, it tends to vanish, quietly and consistently. Wealth isn't built solely by earning more. It's built by managing what you already have with intentionality. I remember back in my early years, I was working nonstop. I was busy, grinding, always tired, yet somehow always broke. I couldn't figure out why. Then a mentor asked me one simple question. "Do you know where your money's going?" I replied, "Sort of." And he hit me with this, "Sort. Of is the reason you're sort of broke." That stopped me cold. From that day on, I made a commitment. I started tracking every dollar. I didn't wait until I had more. I began right where I was. Back then, it was just a simple notebook. Today, you've got spreadsheets, apps, automations, but the principle remains timeless. What you measure, you can manage. And what you manage, you can improve. Every single month. I would write down what I earned, what I spent, what I saved, and what I invested. At first, it was eye-opening, even humbling. I saw how many little leaks were draining my financial ship. I was spending like someone who didn't expect to build wealth, and that's when the shift happened. I stopped seeing budgeting as restriction. I started seeing it as direction. When you know where every dollar is going, you start becoming intentional. You get to say, this $10 goes into savings. This $50 goes to investments. This $100 pays off debt. You become the boss of your money, not its employee. The best part? You don't have to be a financial expert. You just have to care enough about your future to look at the truth. The wealthy?
Nice.
They know exactly what's coming in, what's going out, and where it's all headed.
No.
The poor guess. And guessing is gambling with your financial future. Would you build a house without a blueprint? Then why build a life without a financial one? The moment you begin tracking, you'll start to see patterns. You'll catch emotional spending. You'll spot waste. You'll start making smarter decisions that lead to better outcomes. You'll stop saying, where did it all go? And start saying, I know where it's going, and it's working for me. Discipline begins with awareness, and awareness starts with tracking. So, start today. Open a notebook, download a budgeting app, create a spreadsheet, write it all down, do it every month, because the truth is simple. Wealth doesn't show up by accident. It shows up by audit. And if you're ready to step into that level of ownership, then let's move forward, because now it's time to explore how a 90-day wealth plan can create unstoppable momentum for your goals. Coming off the power of financial tracking and self-awareness, there's another beast that quietly drains your energy and ambition: debt. And it's not just a weight on your wallet, it weighs down your peace of mind, your daily decisions, your future plans. Debt follows you like a silent shadow, always whispering doubts every time you try to dream a little bigger or take a new leap. I've seen people brimming with talent and potential completely paralyzed by the burden of debt. They're stuck making minimum payments each month and calling that progress, while in reality, they're just treading water. But here's what I want you to hear clearly. Debt is not a life sentence. It's a condition, temporary, correctable, if you approach it with discipline, strategy, and a firm decision that says, this will not define my future. I learned a powerful mindset shift early on. When you're standing in front of a mountain, you've got two choices. Stare at the peak and feel overwhelmed. Or lower your eyes, focus on your feet, and take the first small step. That's exactly how you conquer debt. 1. Intentional step at a time. One of the most effective tools I've ever seen is the snowball method. Don't let the simplicity fool you. That's why it works. Start by writing down every debt you owe, not based on interest rate, but purely on balance size. Order them from smallest to largest. Then make minimum payments on all of them, except the smallest one. That one, you hit it hard. Every spare dollar, every extra gig, every unused subscription, you cancel, you throw it all at that smallest debt. And when it's gone, you take the amount you were putting toward it and roll it into the next smallest. That payment is bigger and you knock it out faster. Each time a debt disappears, your momentum builds. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Small at first, but with each turn, it grows larger, faster, stronger. That's how you build belief. That's how you create unstoppable progress. Wealthy people avoid debt not because they're lucky, but because they understand how expensive it is to keep paying for the past instead of investing in the future. And those who've gotten out, they did it one payment at a time, fueled by discipline and a clear plan. I'll never forget one young man from a seminar I led. He was drowning in credit card debt and student loans. But he took this method seriously. In his first month, he paid off a $300 store card. That small win ignited something in him. A year later, he had cleared over $11,000 in debt. Not because he made more money, but because he made a better plan, you see. The snowball method isn't just about math, it's about motivation. Paying off a $400 balance might not seem huge on paper, but the psychological win it gives you, that's gold. Need those early victories to keep pushing when it gets tough, because belief fuels consistency, and consistency builds freedom. So, if debt has been your prison, this is your escape plan. List your debts. Get clear, get focused, and go after them one by one. Each balance you erase is a step toward reclaiming your future, your power, your peace. Wealth requires vision. It demands restraint. And more importantly, it demands that you ask better questions. You've got to retrain your mind to view every purchase through one single lens. Return. Before spending on anything, pause and ask yourself, will this educate me, connect me, multiply me, or fuel my vision? Or is it just satisfying a passing urge? Let's break it down with something simple. Say you've got $500. Sure, you could grab the newest phone or upgrade your wardrobe. But what if, instead, you enrolled in a course that teaches you how to build a business? What if you invested it into a skill that generates $500 every month? What if you used it to start building your brand or buy a tool that earns while you sleep? One of those options fades, the other compounds. And that's the line that separates consumers from creators. Wealth isn't about who earns the most. It's about who masters this decision the fastest. And yes, even small choices matter. That $4 coffee you buy daily, it becomes $120 a month. That's enough for a stock investment, a digital ad campaign, or even a small slice of a revenue-generating asset. Don't misunderstand I'm not saying don't enjoy your money. I'm saying be intentional. Don't live on autopilot. On your investor hat and start asking the right questions. You'll quickly realize that wealth begins the moment your thinking shifts, when your paycheck doubles. That's why someone earning $30,000 a year who saves and invests wisely can be ahead of someone making $300,000 but living paycheck to paycheck. Because the real question isn't, can I afford this? It's, will this build me or bill me? So start making the shift today. Train your mind to spot opportunities, not just offers. Think long-term. Delay gratification. Invest in growth, because while a consumer spends for a moment, an investor builds for a lifetime. And here's something else I learned early in my career. Opportunity doesn't wait. It rarely announces itself. It doesn't knock twice, shows up quietly, and it favors those who are prepared to say yes. You see, most people miss life-changing opportunities not because they didn't want them, but because they weren't ready when they arrived. If you want to be ready, you've got to prepare. And that means creating something I call an opportunity fund. Now let's be clear, this isn't your emergency fund. That's for flat tires and doctor visits. This is different. This is for wealth building. It's your upside fund, a separate account, untouched by impulse, reserved for one thing only: buying your future when it goes on sale. I remember being in my 20s when a friend approached me with a brilliant business idea, simple, scalable, and solid. He needed a small amount of capital to launch. I believed in him. I believed in the concept, but I didn't have the cash. My savings were tied up in bills, travel plans, and wants. I wasn't liquid enough to say yes, even when everything inside me said I should. That opportunity moved forward without me, and it worked. He built something valuable, something I could have been a part of. That moment taught me something I never forgot. Never again would I be unprepared when opportunity knocks. So what do? Start small. Open a separate account. Call it your yes fund, your opportunity engine, your wealth vault, whatever fires you up. And each week you contribute to it. Maybe it's $10, maybe it's $50, maybe it's more. Automate it if you can. But whatever you do, stay consistent and treat it like sacred ground. Don't touch it for dinners, gadgets, or weekend getaways. Protect it, because that account isn't just about what it holds. Today it's about what it unlocks tomorrow. When a real estate deal shows up, the cash flows. When a mentor offers a rare coaching spot, ... When the market dips and you spot value, you won't have to hesitate. You won't need to borrow. You'll be ready. That one. Little fun becomes the engine that powers your future. It turns hesitation into action into returns. And here's the beautiful twist. When you create an opportunity fund, you start seeing life differently. You tune into possibilities. You stop saying, I can't afford that. Coming off the idea of being prepared for opportunity, there's something else that separates the financially extraordinary from everyone else. It's their commitment to constant learning, especially about money. The truly wealthy understand that money speaks a language. And like any language, if you don't take time to learn it fluently, missing the meaning and losing what you don't understand. But the successful, they become fluent through knowledge, and more importantly, it's through reading. Reading is to the mind what compound interest is to your bank account. The more knowledge you absorb, the more powerful your decisions become. And like money, knowledge builds, it compounds. One wise financial choice leads to another, creating a ripple effect of smarter decisions and increased wealth. You don't need to devour 100 books a year. Start with one good book a month, one that challenges your assumptions, expands your thinking, and teaches you how money works in the real world. I remember the first time I picked up timeless classics like The Richest Man in Babylon or Think and Grow Rich. These weren't just books, they were financial blueprints carved from centuries of lived wisdom. They didn't promise get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, they handed me principles, simple, powerful habits and mindsets that have stood the test of time. They taught me not just how to earn money, but how to think like someone who builds wealth that lasts. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I don't have time to read. Let me be blunt. If you're not spending time learning about money, you're silently paying for that ignorance every single day. The cost might not show up as a line item in your budget, but it's hidden in missed opportunities, impulsive purchases, poor investments, and the stress that comes from confusion and avoidance. Even just 20 focused minutes a day while you're commuting, waiting, winding down can finish a book a month. But here's the thing, reading alone isn't enough. Knowledge is potential power. You've got to act. No. As you read, don't just highlight quotes, supply the lessons. If you're reading about saving, open a savings account and automate a contribution. If the chapter's about investing, set up a beginner brokerage account. If it's on budgeting, track every dollar for the next 30 days. Action is what turns insight into income. There's also something incredibly empowering about financial education. It silences fear. The more you learn, the less anxious you feel, and the more control you gain. You stop seeing money as mysterious or intimidating and start seeing it as a tool you know how to wield. That's when everything starts shifting, because when you walk into the marketplace with confidence, clarity, and strategy, your value increases. And value, that's what wealth is drawn to. So start today. Pick a book, maybe one of the classics, or a trusted modern guide. Build a habit of learning. And as your understanding expands, so will your capacity to create lasting wealth. And speaking of value, dive deeper into how your income is directly tied to what you bring to the table. That connection might just change the way you approach every dollar moving forward. Growing. Your wealth starts with growing your knowledge. But knowledge alone isn't enough. It's the application of that knowledge. It's a transformation into valuable skills that sets high earners apart. If you want to increase your earning potential, you must make a deep, consistent commitment to becoming more valuable every single year. This isn't just about grinding harder or clocking more hours. It's about leveling up, expanding your skill set in ways that make you irreplaceable. Think about it. The marketplace rewards problem solvers, visionaries, leaders. The more you learn, the more problems you can solve, the more you can contribute. And ultimately, the more you'll earn. But none of that happens by accident. It demands intentional effort year after year, with the discipline to master new, high-impact skills. These aren't just technical skills. Think bigger, like learning to communicate with power, to persuade and inspire, or sharpening your sales abilities so you can close larger deals with confidence. Maybe it's developing leadership to guide a team through growth, or mastering marketing so you can attract and keep clients. These abilities never go out of style. I remember early in my career, I made a bold decision to invest in a skill I had always feared: public speaking. It didn't come naturally to me, but I knew that if I wanted to grow, I needed to conquer it. So week after week, I practiced. I studied great speakers, refined my delivery, and faced my discomfort head-on. That one decision paid off tenfold. Suddenly, I was being invited to speak at events, lead workshops, and close deals I never thought possible. It all started with a single choice to grow. So here's the key. Treat your personal development like a business. Set a new goal each year to learn one high-value skill. It might be technical, like mastering financial analysis or software, or interpersonal, like negotiation or team management. Whatever it is, pursue competence relentlessly. Aim not just to be good, but to be exceptional. This dedication creates a ripple effect. New skills compound over time. They open new doors, unlock opportunities, and elevate your earning potential in ways you can't yet see. And here's another truth. Adaptability is just as critical. Industries change fast. What was valuable 5 years ago may already be obsolete. Today, if you're constantly learning, you stay one step ahead. That makes you invaluable, not just to employers, but to clients, partners, and your own future self. Now, I know it can feel discouraging when you don't see immediate financial payoff. But think of this like planting a garden. You don't plant a seed and expect fruit overnight. No, you water it, nurture it, and give it time. Every new skill you gain is another branch on your tree of wealth. The stronger and broader that tree becomes, the more fruit it will bear. And don't assume investing in yourself means big spending. In fact, the most valuable investments often cost little to no money. Instead, they demand your time, discipline, and attention. Read a chapter a day. Watch a course. Practice something new. Seek mentorship. Ask questions. The growth is in the effort. Each year, challenge yourself. Step outside your comfort zone. Choose one skill that intimidates you and master it, because that's where the real growth happens. As you increase your value to the world, your income will follow naturally. This is how ambition transforms into tangible results. Grow your skills, raise your value, and your financial future will expand with it, coming off the momentum of building new skills and increasing your value. There's a natural next step, turning those skills into consistent income-generating habits. Because at the end of the day, what you do daily defines what you earn consistently. For some people, this might be writing. For others, teaching, building, promoting, selling, whatever skill or service meets a real need and can earn real money, that daily action becomes the seed. And if you plant that seed and nurture it consistently, it can grow into an income stream that supports your wealth journey. Take writing as an example. Start by jotting down your thoughts, turning your ideas into articles or posts. Then share them on a blog, in a newsletter, or on social media. If teaching is your strength, spend a bit of time each day creating lessons or tutorials. The key is to build something consistently and intentionally. And don't forget to document everything. Track your process, your approach, your strategies. That documentation becomes a blueprint or roadmap, not only for yourself, but for others. It can evolve into a course, a service, or a product. If you're learning digital marketing, keep notes of every campaign you run, every result you get. That knowledge becomes valuable. Consistency is where the real magic happens. Income streams don't emerge from one-time efforts. They're built from repeated, deliberate action. It's like planting a tree and watering it daily. At first, you won't see much. But in time, that steady nurturing turns into results. Trust builds. Your reputation grows. Your expertise deepens. And eventually, income begins to flow. Let me give you an example. Someone commits to posting helpful, valuable content on social media every single day. At first, no one notices. But 6 months in, they've built a small but loyal following. That audience becomes the launch pad for sponsorships, product sales, or consulting offers. Another example, a person spends an hour each morning learning something new, then shares their takeaways in ebooks or live sessions. Those small daily habits begin to compound, creating multiple streams of revenue that continue flowing even when they're not working. Remember, the transformation doesn't lie in the task itself. It lies in the mindset and the discipline behind it. You've got to treat your habits as investments. Each time you reach out to a client, post content, or develop a new skill, you're planting a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into financial freedom. And as you grow, your habits can evolve too. You'll shift, pivot, expand, but the core remains the same: consistent, intentional value creation. That's what keeps your income flowing, even in uncertain times. Eventually, you'll want to match those habits with goals. But not just vague goals with deadlines, goals. Because without a deadline, a goal is just a wish. That's exactly where we're heading next. As we've explored the power of setting specific financial goals with firm deadlines, now comes the final and perhaps most crucial step: putting all the knowledge into consistent, focused action. Wealth, despite what many believe, isn't a lottery ticket or a twist of fate. It's not granted to the lucky few. True wealth is a byproduct of clarity, discipline, and unwavering dedication. It's the natural result of purposeful thinking, daily intentional effort, and the ability to honor time as an asset. Success doesn't arrive overnight, nor does it favor those who jump from impulse to impulse or constantly chase the next big thing. It comes to those who prepare carefully, who move deliberately, who stay the course regardless of distractions. Throughout this journey, you've heard the key steps. Begin by understanding where you currently stand financially. Define goals that are not just inspiring, but measurable and time-bound. Cultivate daily habits that generate value. Track your progress with honesty and discipline. These principles are simple, but without application, they remain just theory. And that's where discipline comes in. Discipline is quiet, often invisible, but it's what turns intention into results. It's the internal compass that steers you when motivation fades. It's the daily decision to follow through, even when no one is watching. The wealthy think in terms of systems and structure, not just hope. So now is your moment. the invitation to take full ownership of your financial path. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop postponing change. Begin today. Evaluate your finances honestly. Set a clear financial target and choose a deadline that challenges you. Start doing one thing each day that pushes you closer to your goal. Surround yourself with people who elevate your standards, mentors, partners, or even a community who believe in your growth. Create an environment that reflects who you're becoming, not just where you've been. Remove distractions, protect your focus, and commit to the habits that shape a wealthy mindset. And above all, treat time as the precious resource it is. Managed with purpose, it becomes your greatest ally. Misused, it quietly robs you of potential. Wealth is not a one-time windfall. It is a lifestyle built step by step with discipline, vision, and time. So as we wrap up this conversation, I challenge you to apply what you've learned. Measure your progress. Adjust when needed. But never lose sight of your ultimate vision. Your future doesn't begin someday. It begins now. Right now. Think financially. Work consistently. Build strategically. And let time reward your persistence. Financial freedom isn't just a dream. It's waiting for you, ready to be claimed. If this message spoke to you, if something in these words stirred a fire inside you, then don't let it fade. Like this video if it brought you value. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And subscribe to the channel so you never miss another conversation like this, the kind that challenges you to think bigger, grow stronger, and live wealthier. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing growth over comfort and above all, thank you for believing that your best financial days still ahead of you. Now go, build, invest, create, and I'll see you in the next video where we keep turning mindset into money and vision into value.